Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about, I guess the teaser images that we do have. And I also wanted to talk about Carol's return, because obviously Carol's return to The Walking Dead is something that people are excited about. I'm not going to talk about what happened in episode 5. We already talked about that, but I want to focus on the final episode here that's coming up this Sunday. Do you think we are going to get a reunion between Daryl and Carol? Is it actually going to happen in this episode? Because the thing is, my prediction is that we'll see her in like a post-credit scene or like at the end of the episode sort of thing where she just shows up, but there's not going to be an actual reunion with Daryl. We'll have to wait until season 2 for that, but who knows? Maybe it's Daryl who sees Carol and that's like the ending scene sort of thing, right? And then just, just hype for season 2 kind of thing, right? So definitely post your thoughts down below on that. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. I will be doing a New York Comic Con video, sort of talking about, everything to expect at this Thursday's event. I'm going to be streaming live as well on Twitch. So if you haven't followed me on Twitch, definitely go do so. My channel name is Appetite for the Dead. The link is in the description of this video. I'll be streaming live, sort of live reacting to all the major news. We'll watch the event and everything, and it'll be super exciting. And I can't wait for all the news that's going to drop. I mean, there's just so much there that I think that, yeah, obviously it's going to be very exciting. I mean, there's the Rick and Michonne teaser. There's quite a bit of stuff here. So I'm very, very excited. And obviously on YouTube here, I will be doing videos breaking down all the teasers and all that. So again, this week's going to be a very, very big week building up to the finale on Sunday. And then after that, we have 6 more episodes of Fear the Walking Dead airing the Sunday after. And that goes straight until the end of November. I imagine during that time, there's going to be a lot of Rick and Michonne teasers and stuff like that, because that's really going to be our next show. So the next like month and a half here is really going to be insane. Honestly, it's going to pick up quite a bit. I mean, the Rick and Michonne show is going to be so massive that if the show is dropping, and again, they could announce a release date this Thursday. If the show's dropping in February, like there's going to be a lot of promotion for this. There's going to be a lot of like teasers here and there dropped throughout November, December, January. I mean, they're really going to build up the hype for this show. And like, I don't know if the internet can take that. I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm trying to picture what it's going to be like watching every single episode of this show. And honestly, every single episode is going to feel like this crazy moment online. Like it's going to be just insane. But again, yeah, so that's all starting this Thursday. So I'm very, very excited here. But let's get into what I wanted to talk about here. So I'll get into Carol's return, but first I feel like we should get into the images here and I'll sort of talk about how that relates there, because there's actually a couple shots here where I'm wondering if it's related or if there's stuff that's kind of similar, because there's a shot where you see Daryl's reaction to something and he's alone, and it seems like this is towards the end of the episode, and I'm like, is he with Carol at this point? Like, or is he reacting to Carol? Like, is this the very ending of episode 6? We have this first shot here of Falou and Sylvie. So we did see them in episode 5, and I was thinking, like, the fact that they actually are going to be at this place here is very good for Daryl, Isabel, and Laurent, because obviously they're on their side, right? So if Daryl's in trouble, you have Falou, Sylvie, and there was somebody else, but you have them actually there, and so they're going to be able to help out. And in a shot like this, I think they're in a garage here, and I think they're reacting to Daryl running towards them. So yeah, we have another shot here of Falou. It's the same sort of shot. It's just him though in this shot, and then we have this shot here of Daryl. This is going to be in the opening minutes of the episode, which obviously is just very, very exciting. I mean, I hope the Varian Walker scene ends up being very long. In terms of when I say very long, I just mean like at the most 5 minutes. I mean, you don't want it to be like 10 minutes, right? 5 minutes would be so cool. If it's like 30 seconds to a minute, I'd be so disappointed. If it's something that is just so short, where even like a minute and a half to 2 minutes, I feel like it's just too short. Like, I don't want it to be something where it just ends so fast and then the opening credits roll and then that's it. I want it to be, I mean, if the credits roll after the fight, that is fine. I would just like the fight to be at least up to 5 minutes. Like in the 3 to 5 minute range, I'd be so happy with that, because I mean, 3 minutes sounds like it's not a lot, but you got to think of how the scene's actually going to play out. Like there's quite a bit of stuff, and you do got to make it realistic as well. With that Walker variant running towards him, it has to play out a little bit. Like, I mean, honestly, actually, now I'm thinking about it, I would prefer it to be much longer than that. Like, I think if I had to make the decisions here, I would say have the fight be whatever. Have it so that Daryl does kill that Varian Walker, and then Madame Janae is just so stressed out and like, wait, what sort of thing? And then they sort of decide what to do next. And maybe they unleash this other Variant Walker sort of thing, and then so the fight kind of continues. Like it's this whole scene kind of thing, right? Because we have this shot here of this other Variant Walker, and again, this is another one here, and it seems like there's a spotlight that sort of shines on this walker. This walker is also strapped down, just like the other Variant Walker. So I do believe that that's probably what is happening here. They're going to lower this walker in, shoot it with the serum or whatever, and then this walker is going to become a variant walker as well. So I feel like the way this is going to go, and there's a shot coming up right away, and I'll talk about that then, but it really seems like Daryl's going to kill that walker. I don't know if it's going to be like easily, but basically is going to kill that walker. They're going to be kind of freaking out and being like, well, what do we do now? And then I think they're going to unleash this walker here. And I mean, who knows? There could be more. We'll have to wait and see. There's a shot here of Falou and Sylvie. I think this is afterwards. I think this is after all the chaos at Madame Janae's place. I think at this point here, things are a little bit more, peaceful. It almost looks like Falou is saying goodbye. I know Sylvie is going to be with Daryl, Isabel, and Laurent going to the nest. Falou might not go to the nest. It's very possible that he just, like in this scene here, he's sort of saying his goodbyes, because it kind of just seems like it. Like, it's almost like he's telling them, like, you guys go, you bring Laurent to the nest. I'm going to be fine. I can't go there kind of thing. Or my place is over here kind of thing. I don't know. It's just sort of the vibes that I'm getting from this scene here. But yeah, then we have this shot here of Falou, and again, he's in the garage here. So this whole garage scene, I mean, we're getting a lot of images from this. I'm guessing that this is sort of where they do meet up after Daryl does escape. I mean, we do see a shot of Daryl actually coming here. Another one here of a new character here, and he's talking with Daryl, and I believe this is at the nest. Like, this has to be, right? I'm trying to think of where else this would be. Like, there's not a lot of places, especially because there's only one more episode left, where I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, I actually think in the finale, in terms of pacing, we're going to see quite a bit of footage here of Daryl at the nest, and I think he's going to learn a lot about this place sort of in general. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Is this guy the leader of the nest? I mean, if he is, he's going to be a very important character, right? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And then there's this shot here that I was sort of referencing before with Madame Janae and the scientist, and again, this just really seems like Madame Janae is really stressed out and like questioning the scientist, like, why isn't this working? Or like, this should be, much better kind of thing. And I feel like it's because Daryl at this point has killed that first variant walker. And so she's kind of stressed out here, like getting mad at him sort of thing, because she feels embarrassed in front of everybody, right? Because Daryl just embarrassed them kind of thing. So I feel like that's what's happening here. And that's what's kind of interesting about it too. Like, if Daryl does embarrass them, it really is going to push them to sort of like enhance the walkers further, right? So that's not going to be fun. But yeah, then we have this shot here of Caudron, another shot here of Daryl. And this is one of those shots that I'm like curious about in terms of Carol's return, because it really feels like at this point, maybe he's reacting to the fact that Carol is there. It really feels like Daryl is actually going to be leaving the nest. And I think that like he'll bring Laurent there, Isabel and Sylvie, and, maybe Isabel dies. I'm going to do a video talking about that idea, because I'm actually kind of curious about that. Like, Isabel is such a big character. I don't see her dying, but I also wonder in some sense, like, is it possible that she dies? And it's because there's some shots in the trailer, and it just kind of seems like it's possible. And so I want to get into that, but I'll save that for a video sometime this week. Daryl at this point, I really feel like is just walking on his own. And he's just sort of trying to figure out, how do I get home? What's next kind of thing? Because I do think that's going to be a big part of the story, right? Like, Daryl is going to try and get to the port. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's the whole, like, bringing Laurent to the nest. But once he does that, the next part of his mission is going to be him just alone going to the port, right? And trying to get back to America. So I believe that that's sort of what we're seeing here is he's on his own, going back. And I mean, obviously he's going to be doing some soul searching kind of thing, trying to figure out, should I leave? Is this sort of something that I should be doing kind of thing? And it's possible that there's just some other conflicts that sort of, come up. And that's what I'm very interested in, is like how they set up season 2. Another shot here of Daryl. Again, this is in the garage. This is sort of, I guess, when he first shows up, and then I think he runs into Falou and Sylvie. Another shot here of Daryl just sort of walking around here. And I think at this point here, there's going to be some not variant walkers, but just normal walkers here. I know this is sort of like a graveyard. There's going to be a lot of like beautiful shots here, I think, because based off of the trailer anyways, I know that there's a lot of stuff with like a lot of this tall grass, and then I think there's like, some classic graves with the cross kind of thing, and you might have zombies sort of coming out of the graves. That'd be really cool. Just I think this scene here visually anyways is going to look really incredible. And then we have this shot here of Daryl, and he's following a map at this point here, and again, he's alone. So I feel like the last 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of this episode is going to feature a lot of this, where we sort of in a way say goodbye to some of the other characters, but Daryl is going to be really focused on like trying to get to the ship, right? Trying to get to the port and whatnot. And then, we'll just have to figure out what happens at that point. Does something happen in terms of Madame Janae sort of messing up Daryl's plans, right? Like, does Madame Janae find out, oh, Daryl's trying to get back to America, we're going to mess that up sort of thing, right? We have a shot here of Madame Janae, and yeah, it looks like at this point here, it kind of seems like she has that watch that has the nest sort of, I guess, engraved on it. So I wonder if this is, at this point here, she's realizing sort of where they're going. Maybe she realizes that she's sort of lost whatever, because obviously this is after the Variant Walker fight, right? The whole battle's over at this point here. Daryl and them are probably long gone. So I think she's trying to plan her next move here, and just what's next at that point. That's kind of what I'm interested in. I do think, like, obviously Caudron and certain people she's going to send out there to try and get them, but like, I mean, they're going to fail because they do get to the nest, but it's just what's next for her. We have this shot here of Daryl and the nest, and yeah, I mean, this is very, very cool. It seems like at this point he's leaving, so he's sort of, I guess he successfully completes his mission. He brings them there, right? So at this point here, he's leaving. I'll do a video on the nest, I think at some point next week. I would do one this week, but I just feel like I want to learn a little bit more about this place and sort of understand what's happening here and sort of its role for season 2. So next week, I'll probably do a bunch of stuff like that. Like next week, there'll be a lot of discussions on like season 2 of this show because they're filming that right now. So I imagine there's going to be some teasers for that. They might promote some of that at some point next year because obviously they have a lot of stuff to cover right now, right? Like Fear the Walking Dead and with the Rick and Michonne show. But I think when the Rick and Michonne show ends at some point, like next March or April, I think they'll have a trailer or something like that for Daryl Dixon season 2 because Dead City obviously hasn't started filming yet. At some point, they are going to start filming that, and I think that show is probably going to be coming out at some point next fall. So I think the Daryl Dixon show is, we're going to get season 2 of this before season 2 of Dead City. We have this shot of Laurent, and it seems like he's at the nest here at this point. So, I mean, whatever his importance is to this place, obviously we're going to learn some of that here in this episode. We have a shot of Daryl, and it looks like he's having dinner. I think this is at the nest. It seems like it. So that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of footage here or shots of like stuff happening after the battle and stuff. And it's like stuff where they're already at the nest and it looks like they're just having like this very peaceful time. Like they brought Laurent there and things are going good sort of thing. And so Daryl seems happy and he's having dinner and whatever, right? So it's interesting. And then we have this shot here, which obviously is sort of, it's a similar shot to the one before. This one here of Laurent and Sylvie, probably on their way here. This is probably when they first arrive at the nest. This shot here of Madame Janae, and I believe that's Caudron. I mean, she could be getting really mad at him or just telling him, like, you need to bring them to me, like, right now kind of thing, right? So, yeah, I hope Caudron doesn't die in this episode. I love him as a character so much. I don't know. There's this feeling I'm getting right now that Caudron and Isabel are going to die, but I'll talk about that in a death predictions video. And then the final shot here, which is kind of what I wanted to talk about and sort of, I guess, segue into Carol's return and whatnot and a potential reunion. We have this shot here of Daryl. And if you're actually looking at the shot, like it seems like he's very, very, I don't want to say happy, but he's just sort of at peace. And he just looks to like whatever he's looking at, he just seems to be very happy to be seeing, right? And so I'm wondering, is that Carol, and if it's not this scene, just in general, are we going to see that reunion? Because I'm trying to think of a way in which they're actually going to sort of end this season, and just based off of, some of the comments of people who've watched this episode and just from the showrunner as well, they've all sort of mentioned that, the episode ends in like this jaw-dropping way or it ends in a really big way that makes you so excited for season 2. And I'm trying to think, I mean, obviously Variant Walker stuff would be really exciting. In terms of stuff with the story, that could be fun potentially. I just feel like if it's jaw-dropping, if you're just like not expecting it, I mean, maybe it's a death of some kind. I don't know if that would make you hyped though for season 2. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I feel like it's Carol. We got her voice in episode 5, and that's obviously very, very exciting. I feel like in the finale, we're going to see her there. It's going to confirm that she's here as well. So obviously a lot of hype for season 2, because I'm just trying to think of it in terms of a marketing perspective for people who are watching this show, because the Walking Dead original series ended last year. And obviously for AMC, they want to promote these shows and make these shows very successful. And so they're sort of teasing what to expect for the future. And I feel like, if you're watching this and you're liking Daryl's story, it's exciting and all that. I think at the end, if you see Carol return, I feel like people are going to be so hyped and they're going to be forced to check out season 2, right? So I think that's probably what it's going to be. I actually do think we're going to see Carol in episode 6 here. And I guess the question, sort of goes to, are we going to see Daryl and Carol, sort of reunite in this episode? That I'm not so confident on. It's really hard to say just because I don't know how they're going to get that done in a way that is very, very exciting, unless season 2 begins with something kind of similar where they reunite and they sort of get into the scene a little bit more. But it's hard for me to say personally. I could see it though, just because of the fact that Daryl is on his own a lot. And that's sort of why I wanted to do this video, because I saw a lot of these images and I was like, you know what, Daryl's really on his own quite a bit. It seems like this happens near the end of the episode. So I'm like, imagine all of this build up here. We see Daryl on his own trying to go back, this and that. And he eventually gets to the port. He's going to go on a ship or something like that. And then he sees Carol or something similar, right? Where he sees Carol and then it's just sort of like this whoa kind of moment. And maybe there's some sort of connection with the story overall, and obviously there's just a lot of hype here in general for season 2. So that's how I think it's going to end. I do actually think we're going to see a reunion. Yeah, obviously people are going to be so hyped about that, but I'll leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Do you think Daryl and Carol are going to reunite in the finale? Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.